The golden light of a Colorado morning spilled through the windows of Elara's sanctuary, a house purposely built for forgetting the world outside. It danced across the pastel walls and the plush, oversized stuffed animals that sat in a quiet circle. In the center of the sun-drenched sunroom, Leo sat cross-legged on a thick, colorful rug dressed in soft blue footy pajamas covered in tiny, determined rockets. At 32, he was a senior graphic designer whose mind was usually a tangled knot of deadlines, client demands, and his own relentless perfectionism. But here, under Elara's gentle gaze, the knot was slowly, lovingly being undone. "Good morning, my little star explorer." Elara's voice was a melody, soft and warm like the sunlight itself. She entered carrying a tray with a sippy cup of apple juice and a small bowl of oatmeal cut into bear shapes. "I see someone is looking very cozy this morning." Leo looked up, a shy, genuine smile touching his lips. His thumb instinctively drifted toward his mouth, a comforting anchor. Elara saw the subtle shift in him, the softening around his eyes, the slight slump of his shoulders as he released the burden of being a competent, capable adult. He was sinking, and she was there to ensure he landed softly. "This is where the magic happens," Elara would explain to the very rare, trusted visitor. "It's not just about relaxation. It's about being in a headspace so safe, so utterly relaxed, that every single care you think about as an adult melts away. The weight of the world isn't just set down, it's forgotten." She called herself a professional caregiver, a title that encompassed everything from a nurturing mommy to a structured disciplinarian, depending on what a soul needed. She knelt before him, her hand gently patting the seat of his pajamas. The distinct, padded bulk crinkled softly under her touch. "Oh my," she said, her tone playfully chiding. "A very dedicated explorer. You were too busy on your mission to come back to base, weren't you? That's a very full diaper. You waited too long. What's wrong with you?" The words, which might have sounded harsh from anyone else, were a balm to Leo. They were part of a script, a play where he was the cherished child and she the all-knowing caretaker. His blush was a mix of embarrassment and profound relief. This was the unspoken contract. He submitted all control, and in return, he received unconditional, structured care. It was a transaction for the soul. Later, after a breakfast where he was praised for every bite, Elara led him to her plush, padded changing table. This was a sacred space for many of her clients. For some, the diaper is the fetish, the center of everything. She mused, her movements efficient and gentle as she helped him up. For others, it's a tool, a key that unlocks a younger identity. For Leo, it's something in between, a symbol of a comfort he never truly had. She unsnapped his onesie. "It isn't necessarily overtly sexual," she continued, her voice dropping to a therapeutic murmur. "But it is a powerful bonding experience. You're showing parts of yourself that are private, vulnerable. There's a lot of sensory input, the sound of the tapes, the feel of the wipes, the scent of the powder. It's an incredibly magical, trusting thing between a caregiver and a little." She opened the wet diaper. "Oh my goodness," she sighed with practiced exasperation. "Let's get you cleaned up, little one." As she worked, wiping and powdering with a soothing rhythm, Leo felt the last remnants of his stress dissolve. This was the core of it, the complete, blissful surrender of responsibility. He was just a boy, being cared for. After his change, now dressed in a cozy t-shirt and a fresh, thick diaper under his shorts, Leo was ready to face the world, his world. Elara drove him to the comfort corner, a boutique that was more than a community hub. A bell chimed softly as they entered, and the air, smelling of baby powder and new cotton, washed over them. Leo, just the little one I wanted to see. Maya emerged from behind a rack of colorful overalls. Her smile was as warm as the shop. We just got a new shipment of onesies with dinosaurs that actually glow in the dark. I thought of you immediately. For Leo, this place was a miracle. It was a declaration that he was not alone. The shelves weren't lined with medical supplies. They were stocked with artifacts of comfort. Diapers printed with constellations and cartoon foxes, plastic pants with lace trim, pacifiers in every color of the rainbow. Here, he didn't have to hide. I remember the Dark Ages, Maya said, holding up the dinosaur onesie for Leo to see, when the only way to get this stuff was through a P.O. box and a money order, praying for a plain brown box. Now, she gestured around the thriving shop, we have a community. People can walk in, be themselves, and feel normal. The economy doesn't lie. You don't get multiple, multi-million-dollar companies serving a niche that doesn't exist. Leo bought the onesie, the transaction feeling less like a purchase and more like an investment in his own happiness. This economy was embodied by people like Ben, the CEO of Cloud Comfort Co., one of the largest ABDL lifestyle brands in the world. In a sleek, modern warehouse not far away, Ben was concluding his morning stand-up meeting. The nostalgia line is shipping on time, he told his team. Mike, let's make sure our UK distributor is ready for the influx. Ben was the picture of a modern, confident executive. What his team knew, and what he was open about, was that beneath his smart, tailored chinos, he was always wearing one of his own company's products. Today, it was a classic white diaper called the Serenity. After the meeting, in the quiet of his office, he reflected on his journey. It started as role play, a thrilling secret, he admitted to himself, looking out over the bustling warehouse floor. But over time, that faded for me. Now it's purely about the comfort. It's my underwear. It acts like a security blanket, a constant, gentle pressure that keeps my anxiety at bay. For Ben, a diaper lover or DL, it was less about being little and more about the 24/7 tactile comfort that helped him navigate what he called the big, scary world. His employees, many of whom were part of the community, understood. They didn't have to hide their true selves at work, and this authenticity, Ben believed, is why they so successfully served their customers. But the outside world's misconceptions were a persistent shadow. Elara had faced them all. The biggest misconception, she told Leo once during a quiet moment, is that the A in ABDL stands for something other than adult. People see an adult in a diaper, and their minds go to the darkest places. They don't understand that the headspace is about a powerful adult voluntarily surrendering their power. It's about the contrast. An adult baby isn't looking for a child. They're looking for another adult to care for them. The recent studies all confirm it. There is no connection. This truth was sometimes hard to hold on to. Elara had dealt with stalkers, hate mail, and being called every name in the book. But she held her ground. The work was too important. It was therapeutic, it was healing, and for people like Leo, it was essential. Back at the sanctuary, the peaceful atmosphere was suddenly fractured. Leo, deeply engrossed in building a complex tower of magnetic blocks, watched in frustration as the top third wobbled and crashed to the floor. A harsh, adult curse word ripped from his lips, shattering the little space illusion. The air in the room went still and cold. Elara turned from the shelf she was organizing, her expression one of calm, profound disappointment. A little space explorer does not have a potty mouth, she said, her voice firm and quiet. I think you need some time to remember our rules. She led him to a corner of the room where the wallpaper had a faint pattern of stars and moons. You can spend the next 15 minutes holding this quarter to the wall, remembering why we don't use that kind of language. The punishment wasn't harsh, but it was potent. It was a reaffirmation of the boundaries that made his surrender safe. As he stood there, his nose almost touching the wall, he felt the shame, but also a strange sense of rightness. The world had rules, and he had broken one. Time goes a lot slower when you're misbehaving, doesn't it? Elara murmured from across the room. When the time was up, she called him back. "Do you think you've learned your lesson about that kind of language?" she asked, cupping his chin. "Yes, Mama Elara." "Good." She opened her arms, and he fell into them. The hug sealed his forgiveness. "You know I love you, even when you're a stinker. How about we get you ready for your nap? You've had a very big and emotional day." She led him to the nursery, a room painted in soothing shades of lavender and cream, where a sturdy wooden crib stood waiting. She dressed him in the new glowing dinosaur onesie, the soft fabric a gentle embrace. As she lifted him into the crib and tucked a soft blanket around him, the world outside, with its deadlines and judgments, ceased to exist. She offered him a pacifier, and he took it, the rhythmic sucking a final anchor to his little space. Elara sat in a rocking chair nearby, humming a soft lullaby. She watched his eyelids grow heavy. This was the truth of it, she thought. It wasn't weird or threatening. It was the opposite. It was a promise whispered on the crinkle of a diaper and the sound of a loving voice, that for a little while, he didn't have to be in charge. He was safe, he was cherished, and he was free to be just little. And in a world that demanded so much, that was not just okay. It was everything.